Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect and all the brothers pushing this work in sincerity and in truth. This is Brother Thamayim from GMS Toronto coming at you with another video. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about the flesh. Alright? Trouble in the flesh. As an Israelite man, when you come into this truth of ours, right? There are many ways that you will be tempted. You know, the Lord always tell us to put off the old man, right? Also, to have a new heart once coming in this walk, right? Because it's a thing where it's a daily thing where you struggle with the flesh. You try to be as spiritual as you can, but we're in this flesh, temptations, lusts, we're all subject to, right? But it's important for us to be spiritual, right? Because it's the only way you can please Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is if you're spiritual and not carnal. At the end of the day, the flesh always wins when it comes to certain things, right? We have to eat, right? We have to adhere to the limited abilities that we have in this flesh, and it's strong, right? We're a slave to it. But the balance is when you come back to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, you get to manage some of those urges and lusts, right? Your heart is the thing that's most deceitful, and that's the thing that you have to fight daily in this truth, right? That's why Apostle Gabar always talk about prayer, right? The more you pray, the more you get stronger in the faith, right? The stronger you get in the faith, the stronger you get to overcome. In Romans 8, also, I think Romans 8, or is it this the same chapter, right? It's dealing with the flesh. Yep. I'll read this because this is very important for you to know. Once you step into this thing of ours, you will be tempted, right? That's the war that we fight daily. The spirit against the flesh. This is Romans 8. And where do I start? Hold on, let me take off some of this volume on this. In verse 3, so it says, "For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh." Because the Lord gave us that the law, statutes, and commandments, knowing that we would mess up, right? Due to the fact that we're living in this flesh, and the flesh on this side is strong, man. It's stronger than the spirit. The spirit wants to do right. The spirit wants to keep those laws, statutes, and commandments, but guess what? The flesh overpowers the spirit sometimes, for the most part. That's why we end up in captivity, because the flesh, right? All those times we ended up in captivity, it's the flesh. And the Lord knows when we signed that contract, because it's set up that way. Yahweh sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh. That's the only man, that's the only spirit that conquered the flesh, right? And he did it on, you know, many occasions. He came on the earth. That spirit came on the earth. He failed as Adam, right? And he's the greatest spirit that ever created. So if the greatest spirit that ever created fell to sinful flesh, who are me? Who are you? Right? Sending his son in the likeness of sinful flesh, and for sin, condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us, who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit, right? And that's our goal, is to walk after the spirit, because we're already in the flesh, right? The flesh is like it's like venom, right? When you watch Venom and Eddie, right? It's good versus evil in a sense, right? That's what we're going off of, man. The flesh is Venom. Venom just wants to be carnal all the time, and Eddie's the one who has to, like, pretty much put that bridle around him and pull him back sometimes, right? So that's the war that we have in this flesh, pertaining to us being more spiritual, but after the spirit, right? For they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit, right? So that goes into 2/3, and that goes into the people of the world, and also and the righteous man, right? Even in this walk, we have brothers that are still after the flesh, right? There's still things for us to overcome in this flesh, right? And these things come with fasting, praying, right? Talking to the Heavenly Father and His Son, praying for the things that you're weak at, right? Whether it be um, women, whether it be money, right? Whether it be whatever, man, whatever, food, alcohol, because these are all demons, right? These are all lustful demons that attacks you in the flesh, right? And prayer helps a lot. Fasting helps a lot, right? And to be humble helps a lot, because most of the times we're very proud when when you're addicted to these things, right? You do get proud in your mind, because we all been there. We all talk. We all tell each other stories, right? We all tell each other things that's affecting us, and sometimes you think you're the only one going through it, and you talk to a brother, and you're like, "Holy crap!" That's how you know this thing is a spiritual thing, right? All of us are connected. For to be carnal minded is death, right? When you go into the book of James, right? Let me get that, and I'll come back to this. Sin when it is conceived. James 1 and 14. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away to his own flesh and enticed. When lust hath conceived it, bring it forth sin, and sin when it is finished, bring it forth death. Right. So that's the end game when it comes to the flesh. Right. That's when the flesh that's when the flesh is stronger than the spirit. You do more wickedness than righteousness. Right. And that's where the balance comes in. The truth makes us balance the flesh and the spirit, because it's impossible to do righteous things all the time, right? We wake up and we sin. To wake up in the morning, we sleep on these sheets, the mixed fabric, right? um, touch your phone, you start scrolling on your phone, you're finished, right? You go outside, you might buy some food, you don't know what those food have been cross contaminated with. You go outside, you might see a woman you might see a woman half naked. That's someone's wife, right? You know what I'm saying? So, the, you know, you really can't win with this flesh, but prayer and fasting and staying humble, man. That's the thing that's gonna keep you grounded. Reading also, right? Studying, right? These things are things that feed the spirit. That's how the spirit eats, right? When you do things that are not of the flesh, right? But ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit. If so be that the spirit of Yahweh dwell in you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of Yahweh Shai, he is none of his, right? And those are the spirits that's created for righteousness, okay? The men that were chosen from the beginning, they're gonna walk in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai, because guess what? They follow the Lamb whithersoever he goes, right? And that includes doing the things that please him, right? Um, that includes being tempted and not adhering and not yielding to temptation, right? the things that we think Yahushua would do, that's what we try our best to do. What would Yahushua do? Okay, we read of the things that he did when he was in the flesh, right? We read of the way he conquered certain things, so we try to do the same thing. We try to emulate him because he's the standard, right? That he's the standard of how to live when you're in the flesh. But as the standard is, it's impossible to to live up to that standard, especially in this body, right? But the closest thing that we can get to is what we're doing right now: reading, doing videos, right? Studying, praying, fasting, try to follow the law, statutes, and commandments to the best of our abilities, right? Spiritual things, things that are not of the flesh. And if a Mashiach be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the spirit is life because of righteousness. So you see, righteousness is to be spiritual minded. Anything that you do righteously, right, outweighs the flesh, because sometimes you don't read for, like, let's say you don't read for like say 3 weeks, right? You didn't get to partake. So as soon as you touch those scriptures, start reading and start doing spiritual things, you feel lighter, right? You don't feel as pressed down. You get more of a satisfaction doing spiritual things because the flesh is always eating, right? The flesh is always eating. So it's like when you do something all the time, it's like you're so used to it that when you do the opposite, you feel it automatically. Okay? Same thing with the spirit. If you're always doing righteousness, right? Sometimes the flesh gotta eat. You can't just be righteous all the time. Not in this flesh, because you're gonna go overboard. You can't be over righteous. So there has to be a balance. But if the spirit on him that raised up a Mashiach from the dead dwell in you, that's the Holy Spirit. He that raised up a Mashiach from the dead shall be quickened your mortal bodies by his spirit that dwelleth in you. Therefore, brethren, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. Okay? For if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. But if ye through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, ye shall live. So let me read that again. But if ye live after the flesh, ye shall die. Right? Sinning. But if you through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the flesh, ye shall live. That's the righteousness that we have to commit while we're in this flesh. Okay? We have to. Or else if we don't, we're going to be living right after the Spirit 100%, after the flesh 100%, and that equals death. Right? Conceive, when things are conceived, like I read in James, you think about it, you meditate on it, then you do it. That's how it works in this flesh. For as many as are led by the Spirit of Yahweh, they are the sons of Yahweh, right? The sons of God, which back then were the Israelites, right? Born the sons of God, man. Okay. Let me see here. For ye have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but ye have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. Okay, let me get off of that for a little bit. Let's get on I think Ephesians. I hate when this happens though. Let's see if I can get something else. Okay, there it is. Ephesians 5. I think it's 16. Ephesians 5 and 16. It says, wherefore, no, 16. Where is it? 5 and... in 2 seconds. Drunk. Let's see. Actually, I can read from from 2. I'll start at 1. Ephesians 5 and 1. But ye therefore, followers of Yahweh, as dear children, and walk in love, as a Mashiach hath loved us, and hath given himself for us as an offering and a sacrifice to Yahweh for a sweet savor. But fornication and uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becoming saints. So these are the things that you're attacked with when you're in this flesh. Fornication, which is what? Idolatry, right? Whoring after other gods. Uncleanness, and that goes on a very wide spectrum. Covetousness, that's like lusting after other people's property. Could be their money, their goods, their wives, their whatever is already taken that's not yours, and you want it from another person. That's what covetousness is. Let it be once named. Let it not be once named among you become it sins. Neither filthiness. These are things that are all after the flesh. So the opposite of that to be spiritual. Nor foolishness, not foolish talking, Salakia, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. For this ye know that no whoremonger, right? So that's another fleshly thing when it comes to women, right? It could be pimping, and that could be chasing after pussy all the time. Nor unclean person, nor covetous man. All things are after the flesh, right? These are all things after the flesh. Who is an idolater, right? So fornication, that goes back to fornication. Hath any inheritance in the kingdom of a Mashiach and of Yahweh. Let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of Yahweh upon the children of disobedience, right? These are all fleshful things. Be not ye therefore partakers with him, but ye were sometimes darkness, but now ye are the light of the Lord. Ye are light in the Lord, Salakia. Walk as children of light. So this is walk as children of righteousness, right? Not after the flesh, but after the spirit. For the fruit of the spirit, right, is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, providing what is acceptable unto the Lord. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. So this is what happens when you're in this flesh, right? You get tempted, but you have to reprove those thoughts that you have, right? You have to suppress them at certain times, right? That's where the spirit comes in. That's where reading comes in. That's where fasting comes in. That's why managing those lustful thoughts that comes into your hearts. Okay, for it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. Okay, but all things that are approved are made manifest by the light. For whatsoever doth manifest in light, so like for whatsoever doth make manifest is light. Wherefore he said, awake thou that thou sleepest, and arise from the dead, and the Mashiach shall give thee light. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools but as wise. Where is that? Yep. Wherefore be ye not unwise, but understanding what the will of the Lord is. Be not drunk with wine, where is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. Okay? So that's the point. Be filled with the Spirit and not of the flesh. Shalom.